Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking out another video if you are doing so. Apologies for the long delay between videos. Life in general has just been a little bit busy, but yeah, just going to try and get back on track and try and get some more regular content out. So today I'm going to introduce you to the latest addition to my ever-growing film camera collection. My friend David Flower recently gave me this Nikon F70 or N70 if you are in the US, and I'm really looking forward to taking this thing out for a spin. So I've always been fascinated with film photography. I'm an 80s kid, so that's where it started. And there's just something really fascinating about the whole process. The anticipation of not knowing exactly what you're going to get until you've had that roll of film developed and you've got the images back. It's a completely different experience to shooting digital where everything's just instant. So when I got my hands on the Nikon F70, I was pretty stoked. It's been around since the 90s, and for its time, it's got some pretty advanced features such as autofocus and matrix metering. This was a mid-range camera in its day, and it was aimed at serious amateurs and even some professional photographers. It's solid, reliable, and it's got a bit of a vintage feel, which is just so satisfying. So naturally, I wanted to pair this camera with one of my favourite lenses, which is the Nikon 50mm f1.8 G series lens. It's sharp, it's got nice bokeh, and it works really well in low light with its f1.8 aperture. But this was proving to be pretty tricky because unlike modern DSLRs and mirrorless cameras, the f750 doesn't have the ability to control the aperture in body. And the G series lens doesn't have an aperture control ring, meaning that it relies on the camera body to change the aperture. And since the f750 was designed and built before the G series lenses ever existed, it just simply doesn't have the means to control it. At this point, I needed a better solution, so I hopped online and I headed over to mpb.com. Now, if you don't know who MPB are, they are an online marketplace for used camera equipment. Now, I've bought and sold through MPB over the years, and I've always been impressed with the quality of the equipment and the prices that they offer. Now, I'm not affiliated with or sponsored by mpb.com, I just really like their service. So after a quick search, I found what I was looking for, which was the Nikon 50mm f1.8 D series lens. And the biggest difference? Aperture control ring, which is what I need. And if you're not familiar with older cameras or specifically film cameras, the aperture control ring on a lens like this is basically just like you use a scroll wheel on a modern camera. And this lens is known for its image quality and compact size, which means it's perfect for all different types of photography. So this lens was listed in excellent condition at just £64, so I added it to my cart, checked out, and here it is. When it did arrive, I was blown away by the quality of it. It was listed as excellent condition, but it looked practically brand new. Now, MPB do have a really high standard of grading when it comes to gear, and this is no exception. So having checked it visually and it looks in amazing condition, I had to check that the aperture control ring works, and that moves perfectly fine. And also the focus ring, that moves brilliantly well. So yeah, all in all, practically perfect condition. Now with the D series lens attached, I've got full control over the aperture, which means I can really get the most out of this camera. So while we're talking about the equipment, let's take a quick look at the F70. This thing is what, like 30 years old, give or take a few years. It's seen some stuff. It's been on some adventures, no doubt. It's got some cosmetic wear and tear. I don't know if you'll see it in this light, but the film door has got some pretty deep scuffs on it. And disappointingly, the model number is partly scuffed off. That kind of irritates me a little bit, but it's just because I'm a little bit particular with things like that. I'm not letting it get to me. All the buttons, the scroll wheels, all the controls, the film mechanism inside, the viewfinder, the shutter, all work perfectly fine, which is brilliant because that means that the camera's going to work. In all honesty, the scuffs, the scratches, the scrapes, they don't really mean anything, and it gives the camera a little bit of character, which means it's probably got some stories to tell. So the plan is to put in a roll of Kodak Gold 200, which is one of my favourite film types. I love its warm, vibrant colours. And I'm going to take this to a few different locations, each with their own unique vibe, and run the first roll as a bit of a test. So I'm going to shoot some landscape scenes, some coastal scenes, and maybe even hit up some urban areas for some street photography. The goal is to see how this copes in a variety of different scenes and really put it through its paces. So once I've shot the roll, I will send it off to be developed, and then I will share the results with you in a follow-up video, and I'm really excited to see how these images come out. So I've got high hopes for this setup. The combination of the F70 and the 50mm f1.8D series should give me a lot of creative control. The D series lens is known for its sharpness and its beautiful bokeh, and the Kodak Cold 200 should give me some rich nostalgic tones that I'm really looking forward to. Of course, with film photography, there is always that element of surprise. You never really know what you're going to get until the film comes back, but that's part of the fun, right? It's all about embracing the imperfections and enjoying the process. So that's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching and listening to me ramble on about another film camera. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. It really does mean a lot. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified when the follow-up video is out and all future content. And if you've got any questions or suggestions about shooting with a Nikon F750, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, happy shooting.